So I finally got my BiblioPlan in the mail from eBay. So I purchased, I believe this is an older edition, but it works perfectly fine. So I've been planning our year, and so I wanted to show you what we are planning on using for BiblioPlan Year 3. So this is the family guide. I don't remember what it's called now in the new version, but they're essentially the same. The thing I love about BiblioPlan is that it is very in-depth, a little too overwhelmingly in-depth, but once you know what you're doing, it's super, super helpful. So there is going to be information about all of the different materials you can use. So they have the family guide, which is what we are in right now. They have Remember the Days, which is their textbook for grades K through 7. And then they have their high school book, which is the companion for grades 7 to 12. They have the discussion guide. They have different supplements. So they have Cool History, which for the different grades, this is for 2nd to 6th grade, and it's questions and activities. And this is just what this looks like. You do not have to complete these. You can complete these orally if you'd like, if you don't want your child to have to write in them. They have hands-on maps, which I actually prefer these to the Story of the World maps. I think that they go more in-depth. I think that they're more engaging as far as like, sometimes Story of the World will only do a couple of things, and these go a little bit more in-depth about, you know, doing more as far as the map work goes, which I think is really helpful. It has timelines. Where are my timelines? I don't think I got timelines for this book. I think I got timelines for 4. But essentially, you just cut them out and paste them. My son has a book of centuries, so he can just put those in there for this year. They have a craft book that gives you different craft ideas with pictures, which is really, really helpful. That's something else that Story of the World doesn't do. They give you activities, but they don't give you a picture of what like your finished product should look like. Then they also have the coloring books, which are more for your younger students or just your creative students who like something to do while you're reading. This is the Remember the Days. This is the textbook. Now, I am not a huge fan of the way that the textbook looks, but after using Heart of Dakota and Apologia and getting over the fact that just because they don't look super pretty doesn't mean that they don't have good information, and I'm not going to enjoy them. I have gotten over that recently, and so my kids actually really like the stories in these, and so we are going to stick to that. We may also incorporate Story of the World Volume 3 into it, which brings me, I will get there, because that is part of the reason why I started using BiblioPlan in the first place. So they also have hands-on notebooking. There's lots of different things you can add. You don't have to use all of these. You can pick and choose what you want, which is what I love. So they also have optional spines. So the main spines are the companion or the Remember the Days, which was this one, or the high school one. And then they have optional spines. So for younger kids, you might use the Story of the World, same for middle school, and then for upper middle school. But then for advanced, you might use some other things. Mystery of History is another option. There's just so many different things that you can use with BiblioPlan. This also has that you can do literature. You can actually get a literature credit for high school, which I think is awesome, and it gives you different study guides you can use to help with that as well. There's different writing assignments. There's young writers, there's grammar stage, and then there's the logic stage, and then there's rhetoric stage for the older kids. So you can incorporate writing as well. Then there's optional activities, different hands-on, different reading things, memory work, Bible readings, family read-alouds. It actually incorporates the Veritas and classical conversation cards, and then the hands-on notebooking, the different things that we just talked about. So this is how you can use BiblioPlan for high school, which is what we are planning on using for high school history next year. These are the required and optional spines. So there's the Remember the Days and the Early Modern History for high school. And then they give all of the different, there's Story of the World 3, all of the different optional spines that you can do as well. And then they have all of the primary resources for all units. So different books that you can get, the famous men of modern days. They have the different scheduled books. So this is K2 and some 3 through 5. And then they have your 3 through 5 and some 5 through 8. Then they have 5 through 8 and some 8 plus. Then they have your high school. So it's just really helpful to have it all right here in one place. Then it talks about different books, different videos, different, like a day in the life books. Talks about different audio you can listen to. And then it goes through each unit and tells you the same thing. So like the Draw and Write Through History that we used with Heart of Dakota. So at the beginning of each unit, it is going to tell you all of the readers and the movies, all of that type of stuff for that particular unit. So you have the one at the beginning that talks about for the whole year, and then you have each unit broken up. So really it's the same information. It just goes a little bit more in depth. Like for instance, the literature picks for high school, it will tell you a little bit more information for them, what grade range they're for, how long they think it will take to complete, things like that. Same for family read alouds. They're just giving you more information so that can help you choose what you want, different movies, things like that. I went through these, tried to find what I could find for free on YouTube or Tubi, and added those to our list for the year. There's also free online videos and then different hands-on fun, which I really like they incorporate the history pockets, which this is K through 3, so we probably won't use that one. But I really like that they incorporate so many different things that are not just sold by them. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I like BiblioPlan, is that they just take different things that you might be using or may want to incorporate and include it into their curriculum and let it work with it. Okay, so this is what a unit looks like. So you have your reading, so for the Remember the Days book, for the companion book, which again is the textbook for the older kids, different hands-on supplements, so the coloring books or the Hands-on America's book, timeline figures, Giants of the Faith, cool history, hands-on maps, crafts. So we're only going to be doing a few of those, and you don't even have to do any of them if you don't really want to. Then they have the different Bible readings for each day. They have the Usborne history book, which we actually have. I'll have to find that. They have your story of the world that you'll be reading, and then your other optional spines. Then they have the literature readings. This is not all of them, but this is just some of them. They're telling you what you're going to pull out for that week. You can incorporate missionary readings. It talks about your family read alouds. This is where your writing is going to be. And then this is going to tell you what your hands-on activities for the week are. Sorry, I got a baby who keeps moving on me. Okay, so like, for instance, you're going to pull out week 2 timeline figures, week 2 coloring page, the Dutch tulips. It tells you the pages that the arts and crafts are on. Week 2 discussion tells you the different movies you can watch. She's smiling up at me. All the different extras. So there are 6 units and 34 weeks in total, and I went through and chose books that we had on hand for my boys. One is going into 4th grade, one is going into 8th grade, to see what they would be reading for each unit. So these are all the books that I plan on using. I did purchase just one book, but it will be here soon. I think it's called American Slave, American Hero. Some of these are included in the book, and some of them were just extras. So I think that Pocahontas and the Strangers, The Buffalo Knife, Pedro's Journal, Stories of the Pilgrims, Sacagawea, The Trail of Tears, North American Indians, Thomas Jefferson's Feast, George Washington, Our First President, Ben Franklin and the Magic Squares, George Washington and the General's Dog, and Lewis and Clark, A Prairie Dog for President, were not included in the guide. I could be wrong about some of them, but most of them are not included in the guide. I just had them on my shelf, and they went with the topic. So, these are some other ones that we have. I know for sure these were in here. If you lived at the time of the American Revolution, if you lived in Williamsburg in colonial days, if you lived in colonial times, Thanksgiving on Thursday, Mr. Popper's Penguins. This was one of the family read-alouds, I believe. Ben and Me, Guns for General Washington, Almost Home, Squanto, Friend of the Pilgrims, Johnny Tremaine, Rush Revere and the Brave Pilgrims, Tolliver's Secret, and The Indian in the Cupboard. So some of these we actually read when we did our American history back in Bigger Hearts for His Glory with Heart of Dakota, but we did not read them all, and some of them my oldest maybe read, but my younger son has not. So I told you guys in my family subjects video that we were going to be going over the states, and in BiblioPlan they have the different states. They actually have their own notebooking that you can buy called Hands-On States, but we already have free printables. I will link them down below from where we got. One of them was free. I don't remember the other one. But I'll link them both down below. One's for older students, one's for younger students. And so it tells you each week. It's not every single week that they do them, but most of the weeks. They tell you which state to do. And so we are going to use these two resources to complete the state study. So to complete BiblioPlan, I actually went through and made copies, 2 copies for each of my boys for all of these things. And I actually copied the week's overview so that I don't have to mark in the book. This was a used copy, so there is some writing in it, but I don't like to mark it up every single week, especially since I'll probably use it for other children and maybe things will change then and I'll be using different resources. So I made copies of these so that I can highlight in those and check mark and all of that kind of stuff. And then I 3-hole punched the stuff I made copies for my boys to put in their binders. So that is everything I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know down in the comments if you have tried BiblioPlan, what you think of it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!